allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome. Today is March 13th, 2017. We're trying to get everybody out of here for the worst snowstorm of the year.
Aaron? Here. Kapuros?
Here.
Whaling?
Here.
Coolman?
Here.
Basil?
Here.
Meyer? Here.
We have the minutes of February 27th. Any changes, additions? If not, is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. Any questions of the motion? Roll call.
Meyer? Yes. Basil?
Yes.
Coolman?
Yes.
Whaling?
Yes.
Kapuros?
Yes.
Aaron? Yes.
Anyone from the audience wish to address the board? If not, we have the commissions, beautification commission, trustee Aaron.
At 7 o'clock tomorrow evening, we have, here at the Village Hall, we have our committee meeting.
4th of July commission, trustee Coolman.
Yes, the car bidding process has started for the 4th of July raffle car. Also, the car raffle stand is getting new counters, and they're in completion, and other than that, all things are pretty good shape.
Youth commission, trustee Forrest.
Coming up on April 1st is the Mom Sundance. Registration for that is online at beecheryc.com.
River to Hope, trustee Basil.
We'll have a meeting on April 6th, Thursday, April 6th at 5:30 here at the Village Hall. Our next meeting.
Historic preservation, trustee Whalen.
We meet every third Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock, and what I placed on the tables in front of you tonight was a sign that was drawn up by Watsika Signs, and I also have a bid here. So I just wanted you guys to see it, and we were kind of trying to get into the older type look for the depot, you know, instead of, we used, I think I talked about this before, we used the chalkboard approach, you know, that it would look a lot more like a chalkboard, and that's kind of the way this sign looks, because the depot always posted in chalk the trains that were leaving and when they stopped and so on. So we thought that might kind of fit into this, and it's going to be a nice clean sign. We're talking about having like a plexiglass, like a glass in front of it, so we can post messages and different things like that. That depot has never really had a sign. You know, it's always been, you know, the Beecher Depot, but I don't think a lot of people understand that it's a museum as well, and that's why we wanted to put the Beecher Community Depot Museum. So that's kind of where we're at. So that's what we're looking at. I know we have money that's been allocated for signs and also plaques, so we're going to have to talk about that, but I just wanted you guys to see it. Also, I wanted to thank the maintenance crew for getting me pictures of the cases that were picked up, you know, display cases that are currently in the maintenance building, which we want to see if we can do. So we're probably going to do a little field trip. I'm going to get a couple of the guys from the Historic Society and look at these to see if we can use any of these display cases that we have in the museum. You know, let's see, because we have to do something with them, and I think that would be a good spot for them. So we're going to do a field trip, and I'll keep you posted on that. But that's all that I have on me.
Thank you. Percy.
Treasurer's report. Lynn?
At the end of February, we had $1,878,227 in our village accounts. Our general account was at $640,157. This is $147,665 more than February of last year, so we are in good standing at this time. We also have a total of non-AP commission bills for the month of February of $183,376.38. And that's all that I have at this time.
I'd like to make a motion to approve treasurer's report for February.
Motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
Any questions of the motion? Roll call.
Aaron,
Yes.
Capuros,
Yes.
Whaling,
Yes.
Coolman,
Yes.
Basil,
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes. Variance reports were in our packet. It says they're coming, but they're actually in here. And I would like to, the bills for this month, as far as what was sent out last week, I think there's only a couple of new ones, and those are energy bills. I do want to, one thing that kind of stopped me when I was looking at the alarm company for the Village Hall security system, to me, it said security system, annual monitoring, and I was thinking in my head that 4540 was annual monitoring. So in case anyone else was being crazy like me when they saw that, the monitoring is $240 a year, the alarm was $2,700, and the camera system and DVR was $1,600 out of that. So I would like to make a motion,
Can I do the added bill? Do you want this 50% added to the bills?
If I could, yes. Yeah,
So we
can
need
I?
to roll them? Yeah,
Okay,
it's budgeted.
okay.
You want to add this to the finance chair, it's $850
Sure.
for the,
what's,
It's $850 would be half of the cost, $1,700.
yep. Hang on 1 second.
she's going to give you in total, 150.
So I am coming up with, I'd like to make a motion to approve the bills in the amount of $150,942.56, which includes $850 to Watsika Center.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
There is a second. Just for a comment, the DVR and the alarm system was a grant, so actually that's a pass-through.
The 320 will have to pay each year for the monitor.
Yes, the actual system is of no cost to the village for the most part, right?
Okay.
Any other comments or questions? Roll call.
Meyer,
Yes.
Basil,
Yes.
Coolman,
Yes.
Whaling,
Yes.
Capuros,
Yes.
Aaron.
Yes.
Trustee Basil?
Okay, consider a bid award for the Gould Street Boardwalk. 5 bids were received and opened. The bid form sheet is enclosed along with the copies of each of the 5 bids. DK Log and TK Construction were two least of the bids, and they were really close. The DK Construction, I think, has a 2-year warranty. TK is 2 years on labor only, not material, but it's a 2-year. TK, yeah, DK and TK, well, okay. TK has a 2-year on the labor, but not material. The 1-year warranty, Bob, was that on everything?
I think it was,
So they
it wasn't
can take-
specific,
Yeah.
but he said, yeah, 1-year warranty.
So that's the difference in the 2 bids.
I've heard, I've discussed with individual trustees this project, and you guys appear to be all over the board as to what to do with the boardwalk. I've heard concerns about maintenance of the boardwalk, I've heard concerns about commitments on the part of the building owners to finish their buildings. I think you guys need to have a candid discussion on what you want to do with Gould Street. I don't know if everybody's on the same page as to where we're going with this. And it doesn't mean that you're not committed to Gould Street, it just means maybe there's second thoughts about this being the project. And I'm just being blunt, because I've heard from quite a few of you on that. And you need to have a candid discussion on that. There has been some discussion that if we don't do this boardwalk, perhaps we resurrect another program that we did have at one time, which is like the facade grant, where if someone commits to fixing up their building, you would give them a grant for that. But I'm just adding some options, because I know I've heard from many of you that you just don't know what to do with this project.
We've also heard of the possibility of, rather than any of those, is also trying to address the water main with the 40,000.
I think I have voiced my opinion before as far as the boardwalk. And at this point, I think it's a lot of money. And I'm very concerned about ongoing maintenance costs and hours maintaining it. I know that's kind of the reason we got away from wood sidewalks back in the day. I think this concrete sidewalk was put in before the 1930s, okay, is when this concrete sidewalk was put in. So it was put in quite a long time ago. And I can remember when, I'm not that old, but I can remember visiting these stores, and it was very vibrant, it was very busy, there were people all over, and it was a concrete sidewalk, and it looked good. Now, I agree that we need to do something down there, but I don't know if I'm not sold on the fact as far as the wood sidewalk. I think we can do other things. I think what we could do is use the money for other projects like the quiet zone. I think the quiet zone would benefit those businesses and stores in that area. I just think that we've got to look at alternative solutions. I just don't see that wood sidewalk being an option right now. You know, not only the cost, but the maintenance and what we really want to do to that area. You know, do we want to go back to the current, or back to the old days? I mean, wood sidewalks, we had, you know, horse and buggies and so on, but I don't know if it's really the thing we need to do right now. So I'd like to see if we could reconsider it.
I have mine. I like the idea of the boardwalk. Is there going to be maintenance issues? Yes. There's a couple of things that I have in mind. The Old West, this actually kind of brings it back to not the fact that wood was a superior substance by any means, but the fact that it makes it kind of look like the old days when this was first built. We talked about putting a mural across the street, and it kind of brings back that old flavor of the old downtown. I'm concerned that if we do something like facade grants, basically nothing's going to get done. You have a couple of signs and that's it, and downtown still looks like junk. For years we've been promising those businesses that if they decided to invest down there, that we would try to make it look more habitable for them. And to me, to not do anything or just to come up with like a small fix-it makes it look like we're walking away. We had trustees here who were very upset that we did not put our village hall down there because they wanted an investment in downtown. So we promised we would do some kind of investment to make it look better, to make it a little more vibrant, and I hate to see us just walk away from that and leave the old concrete, which does not look great. Facade grants, if they use them, fine. If they don't, then it basically just looks just like the way it did before. I know there's issues with maintenance. I mean, I realize that. It'll be good for the first few years, and then after that you've got wood issues. As far as the quiet zone, to me that's a completely different topic because we already addressed that in a different way, which we'll talk more about at the budget workshop. But that's not necessarily part of this money.
Like I said, I think that area needs to be improved, but I think there's things that you can do down there other than putting a boardwalk or a wood sidewalk. I think you can really dress it up, you know, whether you do different options.
How much have we spent on the plan so far?
The school plan was 1,200, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with Scott. My feeling is before investing in a boardwalk, I think we need to get a commitment from our property owners. To my knowledge, we have not seen any renderings or representation from any of our property owners to date. And are there any property owners willing to invest money to upgrade their property? Have we heard anything? Have we seen anything? It appears that we're investing in the it appears by investing in this boardwalk, we are putting the cart before the horse. And we should be putting our money, I feel, in an escrow, or, as Greg has mentioned, worry about our water mains right now, and possibly, in the future, consider the boardwalk.
All right, first of all, we got the financial records here. When we talk about, none of this money is water main replacement money. So water main shouldn't even be an issue here. We got a separate fund for that pays for water main replacement. It's actually healthy and doing well. We have the Penfield Street water main project. That's gonna be an enormous project, $1 million plus project going on for us. And there will still be money next year to do a project such as Gould Street, if that's what, when the Public Works Committee sits down and decides, where our priorities are. I think that's kind of up there on the list. There's some other contenders too. We take many things into consideration when we decide what our next project is for the water mains. Now, one thing that I haven't heard said, and also in response to Trustee Aaron's remarks about commitments from businesses, we have a bar restaurant that is open down there that was closed down for, I believe, 8 years. We have another restaurant, which is the old bank insurance building, that has been completely rehabbed and redone, and the owner is looking for a party or person to lease that building, but it's completely redone and fixed. And there is construction going on in the other 2 buildings out of the 3 that the bar owner that's open bought. I think we've seen a commitment from the property owners down there. The property owners down there are not the property owners that were. You had somebody come in and bought 3 buildings, of which they are working on 2 of them, and one of them is an open business in our town. And the last thing that I haven't heard anybody say, and I think one of the main reasons why we looked at this project is safety. Okay, we have concrete that is heaved above 2 inches, which becomes a trip hazard and is the village's responsibility. By ordinance, we also require railings on any decks put into anybody's home for safety issues, of worries about people falling over the edge of these railings. And that height is 30 inches, correct, Bob? So when a homeowner comes in and they decide to build a deck on their own, or have a deck built or whatever, they do it on their own, we require them that, if the deck's going to be 30 inches above grade, that you have to put a railing on, and that is for safety. There is no railing system there. Do I necessarily know that this boardwalk is the answer? I don't know. I see both sides of the spectrum. I understand that it is a major maintenance issue, and that 10 years down the road, wood does. It twists, it turns, it bows, and everything else. Those are issues that you will have to deal with if this decision is made, along with treating of it, and whether it's staining or sealing or whatever. But the safety issue has not been brought up, and sooner or later we have a business there that's open and running. And I've been in there to eat and go in there for a couple of adult beverages, and it is. You could see where somebody could fall off the edge and get hurt, and who will be responsible in the end? It's not happening inside their business. That's our property. That's our sidewalk. We need to figure out something. We've kicked this can down the road. And my last remark is that, last year we passed a budget with $50,000 set aside to do a boardwalk or something there, right? So last year, almost to this time, we all sat here as a board and passed a budget for our fiscal year, and it was in there. I didn't hear anybody saying this is a bad idea then, or commitments or anything like that. And then my last remark is, I think a facade grant is a terrible idea. I'm still in favor of TIFs. So that's it. That's my 5 cents. and then some.
Well, you know, with Penfield going to be upgraded all the way down to the downtown area, we're like leading into that area. We spruce up the area, I think it's gonna bring more people down to that area for the village. And we made a commitment to those owners to do something for them. And I just think it's the right thing to do. The money's there.
I don't know, I just came by there, the old hardware store, windows are broken in it, I haven't seen anything done there for who knows how long. Yes, we got the bar open, and I know, in the old bank building, they're looking for a tenant, but, other than that, I think we need to see some kind of commitment from these property owners to get these buildings turned around.
In relation to the Weymouth Hardware building, I have contacted the owner of that building through his son. I asked him to address the front of that building because his primary has been the interior and the back of the building. So I've asked him to address that for that very reason. I hear somebody else have something to say.
Well, yeah, I mean, on that hardware store though, that whole lean-to is all been reframed and redone, all new concrete poured in there, there is some new windows. And I'd actually seen the upstairs, I mean, they're building the apartment upstairs, and he's got windows for it, they're putting in brand new Pella windows in there.
Yeah, he's been
I've personally seen them myself.
He's been concentrating on the inside and the back, where, you know, we'd like to see the aesthetics of the front taken care of right away, but then we've asked to do that.
I think the owners have put money into those
Yeah, I mean, there
buildings,
was,
it's obvious.
just the work that was done in that insurance building is a ton of money to get
Right.
where, yeah, they're still looking for a tenant, but, I mean, the work is done, I mean, it's completely redone, all new.
The other thing is that if in fact this were to pass tonight, the $42,000, like you said, was budgeted. It has been discussed for almost a year now. And by us approving this, if we were to do so tonight, we're not ignoring any other projects. We're still, like John said, looking at the water main possibly for next year. That was the next one on the hit list, depending upon what happened. We're fixing sidewalks, we're fixing other infrastructure. So this is not money that is being taken from one project to finish this project. And then hopefully then if this goes through, as far as the aesthetics go, this sort of goes in line for those that were here back in the trustee Gardner days, which was 2007 to whatever. This was a picture that was painted back then of a boardwalk with the street lights, possibly on the boardwalk with possibly street vendors. This sort of fell into place as far as a vision of other individuals from years ago. And like I said, we made a commitment to invest into our old downtown area once there was an investment, and I think that's being done. If we felt in any way or form that work just stopped, work was not being done, it was not being completed, I may be in agreement. But I think we're moving ahead, maybe not as fast as we want it to be, but I think we are showing some improvement.
I just wanted to facilitate this discussion because we've come a long way with this project, and we probably should have had this discussion a year ago.
I think we did.
I think we
Yeah,
did.
we did.
We
And that's
did.
why there was no indication back then that we were going in the wrong direction. The committee was assigned the task of sitting down with the property owners. The property owners, we discussed many different options. And basically this is what the idea that they come up with, and the property owners were in agreement saying, yeah, we would like to see this. I agree that wood is going to have to be maintained. I don't think we should paint it, stain it, otherwise we're going to keep painting it or staining it. But I can picture this boardwalk in that general area, and I think it could be very aesthetically pleasing. And once again, I emphasize that if this money was being taken from something that could not be done, which should take priority, I would have concerns. But this money's been sitting there. We took it out of reserves, if I remember right. So it's not going to affect any other project. And I agree with you, the quiet zone is a totally separate issue for budget call. So with that, what's the board's pleasure? What's the committee's recommendation? Committee's recommendation.
I got one question. Gail feel more comfortable if they seen a letter from the property owners there saying that they felt this was a benefit?
We've been down this road before with another property owner, and that building still isn't completed.
But that's a totally separate issue.
I know that,
This is
but
a
I'm
different
saying
owner.
This can happen. This can happen again.
Yeah, but
And do you, when, my feeling is this, you don't put your sidewalk in before you build your house. You build your house, you get it ready to go, and then you put your sidewalk in. That's my feeling. I think if we're gonna do it, we need to wait until the buildings are complete. It looks, or close to completion, with all these buildings completed. Then you put in your railings, you put in your new flooring, whatever you're going to do. I mean, you're gonna have construction people there on this new boardwalk trying to nail 2x4s up or whatever they put on the outside exterior. This thing is gonna get ruined. You're spending $50,000.
Is the hardware the only one that needs front side work at this point?
there's probably, I believe there's work to be done, but the second half of that building, I think from the front is near completion. I don't know if it's entirely complete.
It's a matter of opinion, but that's probably the only building that definitely.
Needs some, yeah,
Yeah, the rest
some
of them-
major work.
Yeah, you know, they
Some
could be
cosmetic
sprucing up,
stuff
but there's
and-
no real, building code issues on those other buildings.
And then if you look at, we have, depending on how you want to count, if you want to count the hardware and next to it is one, I think we end up with 4 buildings there, and 2 out of those 4 buildings have been repaired and fixed, so we're 50% of the way. John?
One other thing, again, I'll bring up the safety thing, is business is open and people down there, we gotta address it. Stairs, riser heights are out of code, we got no railings in place that are out of code. We got a responsibility to live up to our own ordinances. And, you know, this has been kicked down the road in waits of this, knowing that this could fix it. But if this isn't done, we're gonna be on the hook. We gotta figure out some sort of protective railing system for there. We're gonna have to get in there and grind out concrete, cut out concrete, replace concrete of some sort to avoid the trip hazards. And the stairs need to be redone with appropriate height railings. So we can invest our money into something that could possibly, or we're gonna invest our money into getting it up to code and then saying we'll deal with it in the future. So, because there is safety issues there that need to be addressed, one way or another.
Yeah, I think you're right as far as the construction going on. Let's use the William Offer hardware building, because that's probably the most work that has to be done in the front. But I think this would be no different than if a house was going in and they destroyed our street, they would have to fix it. So as far as this boardwalk that would go in, if he's doing something on the front, and let's say we do put it in before he gets that part finished, then he would have to fix it if he destroyed it. It'd be no different than if he destroyed any other of our streets or sidewalk or anything like that. But I understand what you're saying.
How about some timeline from these owners? You know, like Gail said, we went through something like this 5 or 6 years ago, and there was no timeline, and there it says.
Well, I
For
think
these
there was a
different owners,
timeline.
yeah.
That was a verbal agreement, though. I don't know if you could really tie it to a written.
And there was a committee that was assigned to
Yeah.
monitor that, and that sort of fell by the wayside. And again, it's a similar building, but it's in a different area. This building shouldn't even be part of this discussion, in my opinion, because it's in 2 different areas.
And different owners.
And different owners. And one owner who suffered another tragic loss, and granted, there's probably no excuse, but still. Any other discussion? Committee's recommendation?
Go committee, go.
Well, committee, go. Well, I'd like to make a motion to accept one of the bids on the Gould Street Boardwalk.
Which bid, you specify?
Have we decided? because I know which one I probably should go with. This one, the PK.
That's fine. I mean, they're virtually
The same.
identical. That one has a little bit longer warranty.
Right. The TK construction,
There's a motion on the floor to accept the TK construction bid. Is there a second?
Can I have the amount in that motion?
it's for 42,900.
So it's T and K, not.
T and K.
Okay, that's all I wanted to make sure.
I know they're real close.
Exactly.
Okay, and just so there was a little sidebar over there, the reason why they're not going with the lowest bidder, am I correct?
Yeah, we had a bid that was $50 lower, and I assume you're going with T and K because you're getting the 2-year warranty?
Yes.
Should we put them in the
Am I correct?
Right. Yeah. And was there a second?
Second.
There is a second. Any questions or motion? I hate to say this, but roll call.
Aaron,
No,
Capros,
I have to abstain.
Whaling,
No.
Coleman,
No,
Basil,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Motion fails.
How many yes votes did you get? Okay, then may I suggest we refer this back to committee what to do with the other $40,000?
Yep.
Just to let you know, these bids were good for at least 60 days, so if this needs to come up again, it can.
I think his was good for 90 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, one was 60, one was 90.
Yeah.
Okay, any other old business come before the board? Any new business?
I'm concerned about this sign that's going up here on Penfield and Route 1. As of right now, we have approximately 3 businesses that could take advantage of a community sign. And as many more businesses become interested in locating into the downtown area, we should consider a one community off-premise sign instead of allowing individual business signs on Route 1. This gives these businesses in the downtown area all a chance to be recognized in the community and eliminate clutter on Route 1. I think this is something that the village board should consider.
That has been considered and discussed in the past, but certainly can be reconsidered. It's not on the agenda, it should go to committee. We can refer it back to the committee. In fact, we discussed this recently where trustee Basil's committee just readdressed that.
And I think it's something that we should look at.
Would that be a economic development committee or a planning board and zoning? Which committee would it be?
It should be economic development.
Economic development.
But this would be the third time we're discussing that. So, and that's fine, we can just have a discussion. Anything else? Okay. Under new business, in front of you, there was a letter written to IDOT requesting lighting north of town where the 4-lane highway goes down to 2, especially for northbound traffic where at night where they have lights shining in your eyes, you get the lighting down there. Also, just for information, in case you didn't see the newspaper reports and on the news, the state of Illinois is going out for a request for information on the airport, South Suburban Airport, which basically is saying they're looking for partnerships in building of that airport, and they're asking if anybody has any interest in building that airport. And from what I understand, if there is no interest, it could die. But if I remember right, this was done before under Jesse Jackson Jr.'s era, if you want to call it that. And I believe there was interest at that particular point in time, but it just died.
I never believed that that was a legitimate.
So I heard that this may take 2 years. I didn't see that, but I know it's being discussed. In fact, we may find out more when we go to Springfield this week. In fact, I know we will. And just for another point, we are going to Springfield this week for lobby days, and we intend to seek out our chairman, secretary to discuss the intermodal of the airport and all the effects that would possibly have on our roads, et cetera.
The Illinois House today passed a bill that the loop is sponsored that guarantees us 10% of LGDF. Now, I don't think that is going to make it through the whole process, but it just shows you how far apart the House, the Senate, and the governor are right now on the issue of state funding. It's just unbelievable. And I don't know if they're ever going to be able to come to a compromise. pretty ugly down there.
And we'll let you know the details when we come back. Any other new business before the board? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion made, is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Meyer,
Yes.
Basil,
Yes.
Coolman,
Yes.
Whaling,
Yes.
Burrows,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.